y'all, we gonna be getting started in less than a minute. Take this time to share this video out if you care. I'm not gonna be before you long. I just got a few things that I want to get off
Don't
of my
forget to
chest
order your
about tonight's
custom bespoke
episode.
styling merch.
Y'all
That's right,
go
we
ahead and
have
answer the
merch.
poll that
Just
is
click
in
the
the
link
chat
down
question.
below
If
in the
you are watching
description
on the
box
replay,
and
thank you.
order
Don't
your
forget to hit the
bespoke
like
styling merch
button.
today.
And we finna get started real quick. If you in the chat, go ahead and sound off below right now. Tell me what you thought about tonight's episode, because you know what? We really gonna be talking about that final scene mostly. I ain't got time for all this other mess. Sound off in the chat. Hey, y'all. Welcome to my channel. Tonight we're going to be doing a review on the Real Housewives of Potomac. This is season 6, episode 12. I'm not going to do a scene by scene. I'm going to give you a quick overview because we all know where the party really started with tonight's episode. Before we get started, please do not forget to like the video as you enter and share, because sharing is caring. I'm trying to get these numbers up, you guys. So thank you again for tuning in. All right, y'all. Let's go ahead and get into tonight's episode. We start off by seeing Giselle outside of the teardown, talking about how she's going to have a party. Her and Robin are going to have a party to celebrate the launch of their Reasonably Shady podcast. And just goes to show you that at this point, they're giving podcasts to anybody. If you at any point in your life were scared or doubting yourself, don't doubt yourself, because if Robin and Giselle can get a podcast that is actually picked up with iHeartRadio, baby, you can too. Somebody, I have been asking for weeks at this point, who has listened to this podcast? Are they interesting? Is it something worth listening to? Even if it was, I wasn't going to listen to it, but I've been asking and I have yet to get a response. Ain't nobody told me yet that they listen to this little whack behind podcast. But anyway, they having a lunch party for it. Okay. So they inviting everybody out here to the tear down. Now, meanwhile, Giselle's house is still under full construction. There is a staircase to nowhere. A staircase outside the house to absolutely nowhere. But you inviting people to your house. The jokes write themselves, Giselle. They write themselves. She says that she's gonna invite everybody, but she doesn't want to invite, she doesn't want them to come in the house. They're gonna have a tent outside the house. And if a few people needed to use the bathroom, aka Wendy and Karen, they need to use the bathroom, they can use the woods out back. Girl, don't nobody want to slip and fall down the hill and the slopes of your house to go pee. But okay, go off, sis. Go off. Anyway, the next scene we get was Karen talking about her next installment of her Ladam line, which we all know are the candles and home essentials. She's talking about aromatherapy, all that good stuff. Yay, Karen out here doing what she needs to do, I guess, to expand her business. We all know that Karen is she's a pretty decent businesswoman. She's been doing well in that regard. She Does she feels like she doesn't need to compare her candle to Wendy because she has 3 wicks and Wendy has one, and there's enough room out here in the candle business for everybody. Now that is true. We all have heard the analogy. If you go to the grocery store, there are 100 different brands of bread. Everybody making bread, and it ain't stopping the next person from making none. So go ahead, go off. I don't think that Karen just all of a sudden decided to do these candles. I do think that she has had them in the work for a while. I just think that it would have been nice to have told Wendy when Wendy came and asked for advice, since you have firsthand knowledge. Karen says that Wendy is doing good because she's set up for e-commerce. She needs to build her brand first. Whereas Karen's candles are already going to be out to a major department store, a major store near you. We already know Karen has some relationships with who's done with Macy's. So that's good for her. She's already retail ready. So good for her. I just think that she should probably just guide Wendy a little bit more because Wendy needs some help. All right. Next scene we get is Mama Dorothy over there with Candace. All right. Um Mama Dorothy is overstaying her welcome. This is day 9 of her little visit. Okay. Mama Dorothy, go to the place where you pay bills. And apparently we are told that it's not this place anymore. So you need to get gone and get home, as far as I'm concerned. So Karen, not Karen. So Candace asked Mama Dorothy about what Wendy told her at the uh, uh at the video shoot. Apparently last week I kept saying photo shoot. Charge it to my head and not my heart. Y'all know I'm pregnant, and things just come out. I just be saying stuff. But anyway, so Candace asked her mama, "Well, what were you talking about at the video shoot? Because I was told that Mia came up to you and asked you if Chris was getting paid." And now Mama Dorothy gonna sit up here and try to downplay it. What Candace doesn't know is, and I'm sure she knows it by now, but what Candace doesn't know is Mia, yes, Mia was out of pocket and out of line, but your mama was the one going around last week being the messy one. Her mama tried to downplay it in this scene. Oh, she was just, asking. She was just concerned. So of course Candace is giving all the smoke to Mia because she's feeling like, how dare you come up and ask my mama anything out of pocket like that? But in all actuality, Candace, it was your mom that was going around spraying the tea in your relationship. Candace says that you don't want to sit up here and try to damage my relationship. That's not going to end good for you. And that may well be true, baby. But the main person who has something to say about your relationship is sitting in your house right now drinking your tea. And that's your doggone mama. I know it's hard to check her and all of this kind of stuff, but your mama's gonna be the demise of your relationship. I just don't know if you know that or not. Anyway, Chris comes in. They talk about if he was getting paid or not, and her mom says basically the issue is that when you say that he's a manager and not just a supportive husband, it could cause legal troubles in the future. So mama's already sitting up here trying planning and plotting for their divorce. I don't know if you're catching that, Candace. And Chris says at the end of the day, we have everything in order. And on top of that, we have a prenup. So there's no issues to be had between us. Don't nobody need to be worried about what's going on in our household. I agree. Next scene. Candace made a joke too. Side note, Candace made a joke, said something about Mia need to worry about the chiropractic strip club or whatever it is that she got. That was funny to me. Mia just don't know. She don't want to be on Candace's bad side because Candace's mouth is brutal. Speaking of Mia, the next scene we get is her and her mom. And at the end of the day, I'm just gonna sum this up with there's a lot of hurt and she feels a lot of resentment towards her mom because her mom was able to be a better parent to her sister than she is to her. But like I said last week, the issue most likely with the disconnect between them is because of who Mia's father is. She let us know that all of her siblings have different, dads. And her mom let us know last week how much she disliked her dad. So that's probably why she has been treated so differently. And I'm not saying that it's right. I'm just giving you the pathology behind it. It sucks, yes. And at this point, Mia, I do um I feel bad for her when it comes to her relationship with her mother, because really what it is she's a little girl wanting a mom. It's very uh um childhood-ish. You get what I'm saying? It's very repressed childhood. But I don't think that she will ever get the relationship that she's seeking from her mom, and that's just true tea, and it's not going to be any easier now that you've brought her onto this platform, because everybody, including me, are going to have opinions about how y'all interact. It just is what it is. The next scene we get is, I'm trying to speed through this, y'all. I don't know if y'all can tell. I'm trying to speed through this because I'm trying to get to this last scene, because that's where it was at, doggone it. The next scene we get is over at Wendy's house. They say she live in Nigeria, honey. And she invited Karen and a scholar over to the house because she's doing a charity type of event, a give back event for teachers, where she's giving them um like care packages, basically, with some school supplies to kind of aid, because we all know that our school systems are really failing the teachers and the students by not giving them funding and things that they need in order to succeed. So this is a good scene. I think that Wendy and the scholar are actually becoming close friends. It's interesting that we've seen a scholar quite a few times, and even though she was introduced as Robin's friend, we have yet to see her outside of that initial introduction with just Robin. You know what I'm saying? We've seen her with other people, but we haven't seen her with just Robin. So anyway, while at while packing, they begin to discuss what they start discussing, child. Look, I'm looking at the episode to remember. Oh, they start discussing the video shoot. Duh. They start discussing the video shoot. And Skylar and Wendy were very taken aback by Mia. Again, Mia and Dorothy talking about what Chris was getting paid. Skylar don't see it for Mia, by the way. I don't know if y'all have noticed that, but Skylar really don't see it for Mia. She is so cute also, by the way. She had a cute little top knot, her HBCU grad shirt on. Why is she not a full-time housewife? I don't understand. But they discussed how they didn't like how Mia became so personal with Miss Dorothy so quickly, and they were saying that if it was my mama that you asked, you wouldn't have gotten told. Now, Karen is just taking all of this in. So they talk about how they are invited to this reasonably shady party, and they're all kind of confused as to what does it mean, because even the invitation was slightly shady. It said something like friends and haters. Okay, so especially coming from Giselle, you already know that isn't meant to be shady. Wendy says that she figures that they're probably doing some type of business venture together. She doesn't know if she really wants to go, but she'll try to put on a brave face. But she does think that it's time to have some type of outing, some type of getaway with the couples, with the husbands, especially since husbands have been in people's mouths all season. And she says that she'll invite everyone. She wants all the husbands to come. They asked, I think not Robin, Karen asked if Juan was invited or if Juan was going to come. And based on the history, Juan is not going to come. Juan does not want to be around the group, let alone Robin. And as far as Giselle goes, she ain't got no man. She doesn't have a mate, so she can come with her suitcases. Moving on. What's the next scene we get, y'all? Before we move on to the next scene, don't forget to like the video, all right? And if you're in here, make sure that you drop a comment, tell me your thoughts on tonight's episode. So the next scene we get is at Giselle's teardown, and she's getting ready. Apparently she's did something to her foot. She's walking around in a boot. So now she's sitting up here directing everybody while she sits on the throne with her foot propped up, feeding her face like the emperor of couscous or something. I don't know. And Robin gets there. They're all outside. This just looks a hot, tacky ghetto mess. I'm sorry. Even even if you wanted to host an event, because I believe they probably have something in their contracts, like every housewife is obligated to host X amount of events or something, maybe. Because Anyway, even if that were the case, baby, you could have rented out uh anything, a hotel lobby, y'all could have went down to the restaurant. Honey, y'all could have been out in the 7-Eleven parking lot before out here in this construction site. This is a hot mess, Giselle. And for you to be so vocal and to have so much to say about everybody else's events and how you passed so many parking lots to get to this video shoot and all of this kind of stuff, for us to be sitting out here in this construction zone of this tacky ass house don't make no sense to me. But okay. So they're there. As everybody pulls up, everybody is straight confusion. You got construction workers, you hear drilling, you see pallets of wood. Then you got these little sorry balloons floating around. It's just a it's just a sad, sad sight to see. Um, just, who is it? Mia pulls up. They say that this is supposed to be Hotel Giselle. This looks like the Motel 6, honey. This looks like the Motel 1, honey. They wouldn't leave the light on for you or nothing. I don't know if the lights work around there. Anyway, everybody slowly but surely gets there except for Candace. And so they're sick of waiting for Candace. They decide to go ahead and let them know why they were invited to the party. Okay, we are, like I said, they got this podcast, iHeartRadio. Again, if you listen to it, drop down in the comments. I'm waiting. I ain't found a person yet that listens to this stupid podcast. We get to see Ashley. No, we ain't seen her in a while with her and these children. A scholar comes in. A scholar looks cute. Just, I would replace Robin with a scholar any day. I'm just saying, she comes in, she speaks reasonably. Shout out to Reasonably Shady. She speaks with some sense. She dresses cute. And get more of her information. Um, Karen comes in bearing gifts. She says that she wants to, in the spirit of moving forward, because y'all know last episode they claimed that they buried the hatchet. So in the spirit of moving forward, she brought a little gift. I think she brought one specifically for Giselle, but then she ended up bringing out some more for everybody. I don't know what that was, but it was basically her home essentials line. The candles, the aromatherapy. Robin says that she feels like that was direct shade and a direct shot towards Wendy. I think Robin definitely wants Wendy and Karen to fall out because Robin ain't seeing it for Wendy. When Wendy comes in, she gets a kind of dry greeting from Robin. She did come bearing gifts as well. She brought a bottle of champagne, Moet to be exact, to the hostess that's not the mostest, Miss Giselle. So overall, when we start off this little shindig, as I guess we'll call it, when she start off this little shindig, it's going reasonably well. Again, shout out to the Reasonably Shady. But you could already tell that Wendy was on ready, like her shoulders was up to her ears. Okay, Karen came in there talking about how she just got her second COVID shot, so she's a little loopy. And when I say Karen was the comic relief that we needed this entire scene, I mean it. Now, they done aggravated my soul over and over throughout this scene, but something about Karen and the freaking cuts that they kept making the editors do with her acting like she was loopy, it was so funny to me, y'all. I don't know, it tickled me. It was lame, but it was so funny to me. It really did tickle me. So anyway, um then they decide that they are going to play a game. And so they pass out these paddles, and on one side of the paddle it says reasonably, on the other side of the paddle it says shady, and they're going to go around and ask questions, and you have to decide if it is reasonable or if it is shady. Who came up with this game? I'm sure the shady one of the pair, okay? I'm sure. So they pass out. So I think one of the first questions was hold on, let me see what the question is, y'all. I'm sitting up here. I told you I got it playing in the back because it basically they were taking digs. Is it shady to hold a grudge between your friend after y'all apologize? Is it reasonable or is it shady? And in this group, it is completely reasonable. In most times, I'm sure it would be shady to hold a grudge, but in this group, it's completely reasonable because y'all sit up here and say some of the nastiest things to each other, and then next season I'm supposed to be cool and keep keying with you in your face. Nah, heifer. I remember everything you said about me, my husband, my best friend, my daughter, my son, my cat. I'm gonna remember it. I'm gonna hold it. Now I'm gonna be cordial when I got to be cordial. But I do think Um, oh yeah, and so then they also talked about how before they also talked about when planning this party, it kind of got a little shady because they were thinking about not allowing some people into the house. Giselle says this, and Giselle said, so Wendy says, well, who was not going to get invited into the house if they need to use the bathroom? Giselle says, well, Wendy, it was going to be you and Karen. And Wendy was like, well, what did I do to you in order to not be invited if I need to use the bathroom, not be able to use the bathroom? She says, well, because, y'all have talked about my house. So I figured that you wouldn't want to go in my house. Karen said, well, yeah, I did talk about the house. So it is what it is. Again, Karen is just over there being loopy. Okay. It was so funny. Wendy was like, I never said anything about your house. Um, and Giselle was like, well, since y'all, since y'all are hating on my house, I just didn't think you want to be in. Wendy said, hating on this. And then they showed a pan of the construction site that they're sitting outside of. Wendy is hilarious to me with how she was getting Giselle together in just straight up fashion. Like she was saying, I've never said anything about your house. I've talked about your clothes, but I never said anything about your house. And I think this is what Giselle does to make herself feel better about the shadiness that is her and how she acts. She makes it seem like, oh, well, I was treated so bad. So this is why I treat you like crap. No, Wendy came into this season, Giselle, being your friend. She came into this season being your friend. You are the one that made this turn left. And so don't try to act like she's been talking so much junk about you behind your back. She never did. Wendy never did. And when she said that she was not going to, she was debating on if she was coming to this party or not because the invitation was shady, it's because you going to put in the invitation friends and haters, and you already know that y'all are not on the best of pages right now. She's acts so willfully obtuse. It's just, it doesn't make sense to me. But anyway, so they had a little back and forth, but honey, that's just the tip of the iceberg with this little sorry party. So they kind of have a moment to kind of chill down. This is when Karen goes to get the rest of the gifts for the rest of the girls. And Karen tells Mia that Wendy and a scholar were talking about her bringing up Chris's payment at the video shoot. So now you already know Mia gonna come in and she gonna be ready to have something to say. Karen, you slide dog, you. So anyway, back to the game. They asked, what was something else they asked? They asked if it was shady to talk about a friend behind their back. Now, this is something that all of the ladies do in this group. They all talk about each other. Hey, thick girl. They all talk about each other behind their backs. Okay. Some of them were like, it's reasonable. Some of it, no, it's shady. If these are your friends, I have air quotes, y'all can't see me. But if these are your friends, it is not reasonable to be talking about them behind their back. And so, some kind of way, they're equating Wendy telling Candace what Mia said at the photo shoot to talking about people behind their backs. And they're trying to make it seem like Wendy was being shady in that moment. Wendy says, no, I was being a friend in that moment. This woman is over here dragging the husband with the mama. That's shady. So I'm letting her know. So Robin goes, well, that just wasn't the time. That just wasn't the time. What if you would have thrown her off? It's her her video shoot. What if you would have thrown her off of her game? And so as they're having the conversation, Candace ends up walking up. And so Candace is, late as hell. And they're like, well, it's perfect timing. We were talking about you, and we were talking about how Wendy relayed the message to you about what Mia had said at the photo shoot. So did you think that that was reasonable or shady? Candace says, I think that was reasonable. I think that she was being a good friend. So that means that this conversation should be deaded. It's not for you, Giselle and Robin, to try to convince uh Candace at this point that she was trying to be shady when she wasn't. What was shady was you sitting up here kikiing and cackling with this lady's mama about her husband at the photo shoot. That is shady. And no, I don't think that that was the time to bring it up, but um that was not it wasn't to be malicious. You get what I'm saying? I don't think it was the time, but it definitely wasn't to be malicious. And she was definitely being a better friend than the rest of you helpers was, because the rest of you helpers was sitting up here like, well, I just wanted to know the answer to it. So that's what shady. What shady is that y'all think it's okay to sit up here and be bashing this woman's marriage in the middle of her video shoot that y'all were invited to be supportive to. Come on now. Meanwhile, while all of this arguing and bickering is going on, and the green-eyed bandits are gaslighting Wendy and telling her how whack it was, and then you got Mia done jumped in on the bandwagon too. Karen is in the corner. Karen is in the corner having a whole moment. You know how she like to say a moment, honey. Karen is in the corner having a whole moment, honey, hallucinating, and I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on because of this doggone shot. She had been vaccinated. It's okay. So then they end up getting on Candace and Mia end up getting into it because Candace is just like, at the end of the day, you shouldn't have you shouldn't have felt comfortable enough to be talking to my mama about my husband and my marriage. And so then Mia says, well, I came there to support I came there. No, Candace said, if you were there to support me, then you shouldn't have said anything. Mia says, well, I came there to support, but I didn't expect it to be low budget. Candace, quit with it. No, your mama is what's low budget. Oh Lord. Now I don't think Candace knows the backstory of Mia's mama. I don't think she was privy to that information. I think Candace is just quick with it. But also, I wasn't really mad at her. Were y'all mad? Tell me down below in the comments if you was mad. I wasn't mad at excuse me. I wasn't mad at Candace snapping at Mia, because at the end of the day, you shouldn't have been sitting there talking. You shouldn't have been sitting there talking to my mom about what's going on in my household. And so Candace ends up saying, because the girls again are um trying to defend that conversation, which is honestly indefensible. Candace says, well, I feel a way that someone who does not know me and does not know my mom is going to talk about my finances in my house when they don't contribute to it. And that's the bottom line. Me, if we were sitting up here talking about the finances in your home and what you did or did not bring into your marriage, then you would be offended. Don't act like you wouldn't, Miss. I was a stripper. I wasn't a stripper. I was an entertainer. I didn't take my clothes off. I wore lingerie. I didn't have to sleep with him. It sounds real escorty to me, ma'am. Don't talk about it. Side note, another side note. Y'all know I'll have a side note in a minute, baby. Candace's makeup, she had entirely too much highlighter on her chin. It was blowing me. I do not I don't know who her makeup artist has been this season, but I haven't liked it at all. I haven't liked not one thing about it. It's like they're over highlighting her nose and chin, and it's giving her face a very weird shape. It's not pretty on camera. That's my whole thing. It's just not pretty on camera. But anyway, um, but anyway, So they have this back and forth about the video shoot. Some kind of way Ashley tried to jump in. Ashley, you weren't there, baby. This is sit there, drink your drink. Don't try to jump in. I think Ashley felt like, oh, this has been a scene. I haven't had anything to say at all. So maybe let me try to jump in at this point. No. Candace shut it down real quick. She said, you shut your wide face up. You wasn't even there. This ain't got nothing to do with you. I'm sorry, Ashley. Sit over there with Karen and just console Karen and her hallucinations. This ain't had nothing to do with you, baby. Eat your charcuterie. So let's see what else happened, y'all. Do y'all think there was something wrong with um with Mia asking these questions at the photo shoot, because everyone's trying to sit up here at this point acting like they don't understand why that's upsetting? Do y'all see why that would be upsetting? I'm just saying. Let me see what else is going on. Where my remote at? Let's get past this little stupid fight. And then, oh, and another thing, Giselle's gonna throw in talking about. I mean, when Mia says low budget, Giselle goes, "Oh, well, I mean, well, we were in the parking lot." Giselle, are we not in the parking lot right now? Are we not in the parking lot of your teardown as we speak right now? This whole party is low budget. This whole party is low budget. Okay. So then they continue with the game, which is clearly not going well. Is it reasonable or is it shady to call your friend when you're drunk and tell them that you don't like them? So that was a direct shot towards Karen, because we all know Karen gets a little tipsy, honey. She has a moment, as she likes to say. And she, I guess, called Robin at some point and told Robin that, honey, she likes one more than she likes her. That's funny to me. That's funny. I think we all like one more than we like Robin. At that point, Ashley had a little confessional where she says, "Oh, I love when Karen gets day drunk and calls you in the middle of the afternoon and tells you her true feelings." I see that little shade that you tried to throw in there, can't Ashley, insinuating that Karen sits here and gets day drunk all the time. I heard it. I caught it. We're good. So then the very final question, Robin asks, is it reasonable or is it shady to confront your friend about how does she word it? Check on your friend after she's made major physical changes after a rumor of her husband cheating. I don't know. However, basically asking if this whole situation with Wendy, if it was reasonable or if it was shady. Y'all get on my nerves. Candace put her paddle down. Candace say, I'm out. I'm out. I'm not doing this with y'all. Ashley takes a big sip of her drink. Everybody's sitting here with the pluck face because this whole question is shady. The Robin. And so then Wendy goes, sorry. Wendy goes, it would be reasonable if the blog in which you're referring to about this rumor didn't say that you had an STD. That tickled me down because that's my whole thing. That I've been saying that since day one. It You're sitting up here referencing a blog that has dragged you down. Yes, it's shady, girl. Yes, it's shady. Ashley tries to say that it was supposed to be done reasonably. They were not trying to be shady. Wendy says, "Well, when y'all turned around and y'all talked about it again at Robin's party, were y'all being reasonable or were y'all being shady then? When you continue to bring my name up." They're like, "We weren't talking about you. We weren't talking about you. We were just discussing what had happened." And who was it? Candace goes, I mean, it was like a 40-minute conversation. Like we were talking about her. They They have sat up here and made in their mind some kind of way that Wendy's reactions to them are so wrong and so over the top, but and they're just defending themselves or they're just asking questions so they don't understand why she's being this aggressive. Child boo. Wendy, and I love Wendy does not let up and she comes to them with such logical facts and reasonable questions as to why you continue to keep my name in your mouth, why you continue to have this why we continue to have this back and forth. And they bother me so bad. They bother me so bad. I was sitting up here watching this scene like, oh my God, it would take everything in me not to haul off and slap one of them. Like they are ridiculous. Even a scholar was like, even a scholar was trying to be the voice of reason. And her and Mia had a little skerfuffle for a quick little second. But at because Mia was like, what are you, the mediator? No, a scholar sitting up here telling the truth. Y'all keep bringing this rumor up towards this lady. Let it go. Let it go. Wendy says, if y'all were wanting to be reasonable, if y'all really wanted to be my friends, y'all have my number. I never got one call from not nobody on here, but y'all felt it was okay to continue to have this conversation. That is what's shady. Period. Point blank. Put a nail in the coffin. It's over with. Now I don't know what happened. Some kind of way me and Candace kept getting into it. Giselle's beating the paddle. Uh, Scholar's rolling her eyes. Karen is Karen is over it. Okay, Karen is over here loopy. She did not get vaccinated to come over here and deal with you healthers. She did not. Y'all, I'm so through. I'm so through. Let me read some of these comments and we gonna close this thing out. They done pissed me off. I'm so sick of them. I'm so sick of them. Um, Thick girl, what you saying, girl? Oh Lord. Thick girl said Candace was never on her game at that video shoot. She, don't do her. She was in her zone. She was in her zone. The green-eyed bitter bandits is making Wendy more likable each episode. They really are. And I did not come into this season. I came into this season, to be honest with you, like, you know what, Wendy, I have no sympathy for you. You get what you get because you chose to be on their side last season against the whole Monique and Candace thing. But you know what? She's handling her own, honey. She's handling them, and I love to see it. Even if she doesn't know if Miss wouldn't say that about dry wig Dorothy. She works been mad. You said even if she didn't know if Mia wouldn't say that about dry wig Dorothy. Right. Yeah, Mia's being messy, period, point blank. Straight up messy. Child, Giselle talking about Karen or Rennie wasn't allowed in her house as if she doesn't live in the outhouse, girl. Like as if anybody wanted to go down that slope to try to pee. I'd have held it in. I'd have held it. I don't be peeing at everybody's house. That sure wouldn't have been one I'd have been peeing at. Okay. Giselle doesn't have to throw Robin under the bus because she's willing to lay under the bus all on her own. And that's the thing. Robin is so quick trying to be um trying to be the mouthpiece. That's why her and Wendy are even having this conversation or having this back and forth. Wendy wasn't coming at Robin to begin with. But you did that to yourself, honey. You did that to yourself. At this point, uh Giselle was like, well, Wendy, you could leave my house. You're not gonna speak to me any kind of way in my house. Heifer, we not in your house. We in a construction site, in a tent with nets and sand and wood flying all around us. We not in your house. There Who's been in the house? No one. Then when they decide they're gonna try to take a little tour of this little janky closet that she claimed to have with all these tacky fashions, you got to walk down this, like I said, you got to roll down the hill. A scholar done turned back. She said, I ain't doing this with y'all. And Candace goes to the house, gassing her up this tacky decor she got. I'm so sick. I'm sick of 'em. sick of 'em. But before they left, some kind of way, when Karen brings up, well, Wendy, aren't you gonna invite everybody to this trip? Karen, we are in the middle of a full on drag out doggone fight betwixt everybody in the group, and you gonna talk about a trip. But Wendy kept the energy that I love to see. She says, yes, okay, I am having a couples trip. And everybody and their husbands, since husbands have been the talk so much this season, and everybody wants to keep each other's husbands in their mouths, husbands names in their mouths. Let me make sure I put names, husbands names in their mouths. Everybody can invite, your husbands. So, Chris will be there, and hopefully Michael will be there. Candace says, I hope not. We all hope not. We don't want the predator. Ray will be there. Hopefully, Eddie will be there. Skylar's husband will be there. Giselle, you can bring your suitcase. And she didn't even address Robin and Juan. And Robin, in her confessional, says, well, I'm just glad to know that if she doesn't like me or she hates me, I would just rather want to know that up front. And she's telling me more and more how she really feels about me. She wouldn't have given you all this smoke, Robin, if you didn't have all this smoke. You're sitting up here gaslighting her, trying to act like y'all don't understand why she would be upset. Trying to act like you don't understand why she would respond in the way that she's responding. When just in season 1, you did the same thing. Now I watched What Happens Live afterward, and Robin was on there, and they had the studio audience ask that same question. Robin, don't you think it's hypocritical that you're talking about Wendy going off about the rumors on her husband when you went off on Ashley about the rumors on your husband? And see, people kill me when they want to make little, like, they want to tick it down to the most minuscule differences. She goes, oh, well, the difference is Ashley was going around a party and talking to everybody about it. And, it was just my first season and I didn't know what I signed up for. But Wendy came in on season 5, so she knew what she signed up for. And we weren't like, no one was going, no. Giselle did go around and talk to everybody before she talked to Wendy. She talked to you. She talked to Ashley. She talked to multiple people before she talked to her quote unquote friend and soror, Wendy, about this rumor. And regardless, if even if you do know what you signed up for when choosing to join a reality TV show, you're not how you respond to someone lying on your spouse is how you respond. Period. It's how you gonna respond. Don't sit up here now that you're in season 6 and act like, oh, well, you know what? You just have to let things go. When you were this, like, literally, same situation. Same situation. I remember back in the day, back in season 1, I used to like Robin. I liked Robin for a long time. I did. Or, oh, I see it. Rob Dixon. Shout out to Alexander Rogers. I did used to like Robin, but each season she aggravates me more because you're so stuck up Giselle's butt and trying to defend her in her wrong. You wouldn't have been in none of this. And now her and Wendy really have the most smoke towards each other. Really, I think her and Wendy go at it harder than her and Giselle. Really. But all the smoke really be for Giselle. Anyway. I would have said I've been thrown out of better construction sites than this one. Okay. How you gonna throw me out your house? Heifer, we not in your house. We not in. I would gladly leave. Okay. Don't nobody want to be out here. Look, don't nobody. Right. Real Housewives of Atlanta showed her what she was in for, so that's no excuse. It's no excuse. And the fact that it's just the gaslighting for me. You know what I'm saying? It's like, well, Wendy, we should be able to talk about this and keep bringing this up and keep discussing this rumor. And you should just think that we're coming from a place of love. You should totally think that we're coming from a place of love. I mean, yeah, I could have called you and talked to you, but I mean, whatever. It's whatever. So I don't understand why you're acting like this. Why are you getting so upset? Why are you why are you speaking to me like this? Meanwhile, Robin, you're the one yelling. Wendy's just talking to you and reading you down. She's reading you down in an even tone, but you're the one yelling. You're the one cursing. You're the one. Wendy is just reading you down ever so eloquently in an even tone, and it triggered you because you sound stupid. I'm tired of them. I'm tired of them. Giselle lives in the barn in the forest, honey. Well, the tear down. The tear down. Speaking of the tear down, why you talking about you don't want people that talks about your house in your house, but you let Candace in your house, and Candace was the one that called it a $900,000 tear down. Speaking of which, speaking of which, but Gizzard Neck was mad people talking about her fake relationship with Jamal. And that's what I'm saying. It's so hypocritical. They can sit up here and get so upset when anybody talks about their relationships. But you're sitting up here talking about this woman's husband. Not ex-husband, not play husband, not plot line, not live-in boyfriend, husband. And you don't see why she's upset. You can't understand why she's mad and why she gonna keep reading y'all down every time y'all keep bringing it up. I don't want to be Team Wendy, but y'all are making me Team Wendy. I don't want to be. And don't get me wrong, if Wendy step out of line, she can get it too. But in this episode, I was here for it. I like that Wendy kept the same energy the whole time. She talked about it. She kept the same energy, foot on neck. I'm here for it. Right. She tried to say Wendy said what Candace said about her house. Exactly. Exactly. Because one thing about it, Wendy didn't start giving this energy to the Green Dot Bandits until Wil- I was going to say Wilmington. They weren't in Wilmington. Where were they at? Williamsburg. She didn't start giving them that energy until they were in Williamsburg. Up until that point, Wendy was still cool with them. She had nothing mean to say about them or their relationships or anything. But once you drag my family and go good on my family, guess what? All bets are off. I'm gonna give you all of this energy. I sure is. I sure is. I said it how I said it. I sure is. Go give you all of this energy. That's it, y'all. Next week we gonna have this couples trip, and apparently that's when Candace and Mia really get into it. We've been waiting to see that, honey, when the tossing of the salads. um, we get to see that. Um, I don't believe that Giselle or Robin will be coming. I mean, unless they're coming together, because those the only two. That's the only couple that they have. Because we know Juan ain't coming. I'm so glad that Juan Ditson is not here right now because he's never anywhere but at his other girlfriend's house. Oops. Anywho, I'm done. Let me get off here and go to bed. I will see y'all tomorrow again. If you are watching this on the playback, thank you for joining. Please don't forget to like the video, subscribe if you have not already. My Patreons are getting my Tales of the Salon Horror Story video tomorrow. Everybody else will be getting that video on Tuesday. So make sure that you come back and join me for that. Um Not or with Michael. Hello. Hello. And we don't want to see Michael either. We don't want to see Schmiegel. We don't want to see Gollum, or however you say it. We don't want to see him either. But whatever. I'm ready to see this little trip. Um anything else? Yes, I said my Patreons are getting that video tomorrow. Everybody else will be getting it on Tuesday. If you want early access, all you gotta do is join my Patreon. Remember, shout out to my Patreons. Y'all are the real MVPs. I'm gonna be trying to do some special things for y'all in this new year because y'all have definitely been riding with me. If you would like to join my Patreon, it's very simple. All you have to do is go to www.patreon.com/bstokestyling and make your pledge. $5, $10, or $25. Currently, I'm trying to get to 20 Patreons, you guys, so make sure you help me reach my goal by clicking the link down in my description box and joining my Patreon. You do not want to miss out on the early access to my videos. Thank y'all so much for coming and tuning in as I rant and rave about this doggone show. And I will see y'all in the next video. Peace.